A very good evening to you. Welcome to another Hot Button Issue broadcast right here on Choice Television with me, Timothy Poleon. We conclude at 10 o'clock this evening with the clip that peaked. Well, over the last 2 days, we've been inundated with a particular story, and a story which has certainly brought a lot of pain to people in St. Lucia. You're talking about kids, you're talking about men, in particular women. An incident which occurred on Sunday evening has left a woman battered and bruised, and we have been able to show you some of the footage during the Choice News Now broadcast. This evening I'll be speaking with one of the daughters of Mariah Joseph. Mariah Joseph is from Maiwetut in Moshi, currently nursing her injuries. She has been hospitalized from Sunday and released from the Victoria Hospital on Tuesday. You'll be hearing from her daughter in just a moment. But first, a reminder of what transpired with that report from Miguel Fevrier of Choice News.
55-year-old Maria Joseph was released from the Victoria Hospital Tuesday morning, severely bruised. The Moshi resident says she was involved in an argument with her partner when the incident occurred. The argument escalated to the point where she was attacked, blacking out in the process, unable to recall the subsequent events. Fearing for her life, Joseph says she prefers to flee the country rather than press charges.
I want to go to court. If I go to court, I know police and grocery. I don't go to court.
What is your problems with the police and grocery?
I don't know, but I'm not going to court.
What happened after he hit you? Did you call the police?
Well, I don't know. When the ambulance bring me here, the police came, and I'm not going to court now. My daughter is preparing now for me to go with my daughter in the States, so I'll be better there right now if I go.
Have you heard from him since?
My daughter? No, he never come and see me.
The victim's daughter, meanwhile, described the scene as a bloody one. She says, contrary to what her mother says, this is not the second attack, but the worst by far, involving a number of weapons.
A mug, it's a heavy-duty mug. It's not this kind of cheap, slim mug. It's broken. It's blood. Blood is all over the sofa. Apparently it did. Everything is broken in the house. Bottles on the ground, you know. The glasses are broken. The doorknob is filled with blood. The step has blood. A lot of blood was shed there in an attempt to cut her throat. The knife is right there the same way. And just hold on. The threat of cutting the throat has been made many times in my presence. He has actually been saying all the time that he will be cutting her throat.
The young lady says she and her sister have warned her mother on a number of occasions about the abusive relationship, begging her to leave, but to no avail. She took umbrage with the way the matter was handled by the police.
The police was contacted on Sunday. The neighbors right there, they contacted the police when they saw all the bloodshed because he jumped on her belly, as she said, and she passed a lot of blood. Broke so many things in her head, but the hardest struggle, she said, was to get the knife out of his hand. The police came to the hospital. I think they did come. They spoke to her, but she was in pain, so there was nothing much they could have probably gathered at that time. My sister did try her utmost. She contacted the Groseland police station. She spoke to officer who said that CID is already dealing with the matter. That doesn't sound too bad. Nevertheless, it is Tuesday and arrest has not been done. I don't want to answer as to what my mother wants to see happen. At the end of the day, if someone causes harm to somebody, he needs to be aware. He needs to acknowledge that what he did was wrong. So I believe the Royal Police Force of St. Lucia is supposed to do what they're supposed to do.
No arrest has been made in the matter. Miguel Fevrier, Choice News Now.
Thank you very much, Miguel. This report was filed last evening during the Choice News Now broadcast. And joining Hot Button Issue is Melissa Joseph, who is the daughter of Mariah Joseph. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for mustering the courage to appear tonight and to share the story with us. How are you doing?
Not too good. I just try. It's like I'm hanging in there. I'm just hanging in there. I have to for my siblings, especially my mom. I'm just trying to hang in there.
When did you get news of the incident involving your mom?
I got news of the incident the Sunday night. It happened the Sunday night. I got news a little later Sunday night.
It occurred about what time?
Occurred about approximately 10 o'clock.
And you got the report by when? When were you alerted with regard to the incident?
The night, probably about after 11 or so.
What was your reaction?
You know, I was like, You know, I'm so tired. I'm like, again? But then at that time, I didn't even know how bad it was this time. I wasn't aware of how bad.
Why you said again?
Again, because he always beating her. There is always a call every other weekend that there is a fight and something of that sort. So then when I heard that, I'm like, again? Because even the same Sunday, a little early on that same day, I noticed he was beating her by the road. And that same afternoon again, the night it happened again. But like I said, it was nasty.
When you realized that he was beating your mom earlier on that Sunday, imagine you did not do anything? You did not feel compelled to do anything?
I was shouting at her to stop it. I was shouting at them to stop it. But they did stop. Like I said, they did stop. But then, and I left. I think my mother went down the road. She was not there she had already gone. Like, it stopped and she left. And then I went to see my aunt at Riviera. It went a little later.
So for you, it's a normal occurrence, and that did not necessitate it at that time for you to make a report to the police?
No, but even if you make a report, when the police come, she always doesn't want to press charges.
How did they meet?
How did my mother meet this man? No, I never asked her. I've never asked my mother how she met with this man. Because I've never accepted him.
Why?
As my stepfather. Because he's always beating her. It's like 11 years. My mother is getting licks. And even when we try to intervene and to encourage her to do what's right, she doesn't listen to us.
What do you think prevented her from taking the necessary steps?
I believe it's fear. I look at it as fear. Because I keep telling her she needs to get closer to God, because she looks like she's afraid of him. I used to always telling her that. And she would give me some old responses, but that's okay.
And that frustrated you?
All the time. Sometimes I try to keep her away from them. Because it's like you talk on the thing. You try your utmost and she does what she wants to do. So.
Did you reach a point where you just gave up?
I did. I really did.
Why would you take such a drastic step?
Because
considering it's your mom. Is it because of the frequency? Is it because of the overexposure to all the fighting?
Because it's like it has been going on for like 11 years. And my aunt of Riviera meter, my heart goes out to this lady. I don't even know what to say right now. And I think one of my strengths of being here, I'm thinking of her because she's always crying. She calls me and she says, your mother called me last night. She and Blaze in the fight. My auntie her heart is sore about that, you know. It's 11 years, Tim. And it's like, even when you come to speak to my mother, he would like, don't come and put no rule here. Who you think you are? Get your... And he would tell us to get out and insult us. And even when he insults us, my mother supports him. Sometimes when they calls my auntie, because every time my auntie phone rings, her heart jumps. She jumps. She's always jumpy. Like she's always jumpy because she's like, my mother and the man must be fighting. You know, so that's too much.
But you never felt that you should take matters into your own hands, for example?
I did. I told my sister.
By reporting him to the Human Services and the relevant authorities? To
the Human Services, well, what I intended to do, at one point I told my sister, even if I'm not living there, just because I love you so much, sister, I'm going to help you. We're going to go to the social welfare to get this man out of our house, right? When I said our, my mother says it's not my house because I don't live there anymore. So I'm like, my dad built this house. So that was what we tried to do. And she told my sister she would put my sister out. She said if they go, she will put them out. There was a time my brother was still in St. Lucia, and then it reached a point where, because my brother has more force than us, he was able to tell the man he can't stay for food. They're like, give him out of his clothes, give him all his clothes and tell him you're not welcome here. You know what my mother did? My mother left us and she went to rent with the man, and the man was beating her more. She went down to a place lower down, it was like Moshi proper. She went there to rent with him because my brother told him he's not welcome there. And after a while, she still brought him back home. What do you think would prompt your mom? Because I think you should know her well enough. Yeah, I do. That's why I went out and I justified the statement she made, because I know my mom. What do you think would have caused her to want to put her life literally in danger, in harm's way, for so long? To be honest, sometimes I say it's money. I keep telling her that. I keep telling my mother, what do you really need a man at this age, mommy? Is it money that's doing you that? She keeps saying, oh, he pays whatever for her, he pays. I keep telling that's not what it is. That's not, that's not that your life is worth much more. Sometimes I tell her, mommy, look at you. Mommy, not even pretty like before. Mommy, you're getting old. I tell her that at times. Yes, sometimes I tell it too. I tell her, mommy, you're getting old. The man is getting you old. I tell her these things, and she cuts me off. Mm-hmm. She cuts me off. She does all the time. So,
what kind of relationship you have with your mom?
Well, I used to have a good relationship with my mother up to the point when I was going to Alpha Community College, but then from the time my mother got involved with this man, it has not been good at all. It has not been good. It has not been good. Because it's like the way he gets along with my mother, he has my mother turning away from all her kids. Like my mother is like against us. It's like at one point in time, he was being beaten by he was beating my mother, and then the neighbors called my sister because she was not home. When she got home, I think she confronted him, and she expressed that she was not pleased, and she called the police to that effect. When the police came, the police almost arrested my sister. My mother said the man never beat her, she took a fall, and she was saying, oh, my sister was the one who knocked the man. So we have been trying our utmost. But the fact that I'm over 18, I'm not living there anymore, every time I try, she's like, the law will tell you cannot say, you have no right in my house, you're over 18. She says that all the time. Even when I was going to go ahead with my sister to go to family court to explain to them of the abuse and stuff like that, she told my sister, if you go, I'm putting you out. Because there's my oldest sister, I'm sorry, because I'm the oldest. The sister who's just after me, she's not residing here, she's living in the States. At one time, my mother was being beaten so bad that she actually got along with him. She really, I don't know, I don't want to say anything out of the way. She really had it with him, and then she did curse him off and stuff. And what my mother did, she gave my sister a letter to leave her house through the court, just to satisfy the man. So it's like she has actually been putting the man before all of us. And the more we speak to her, where her health is concerned, her sanity, always been beaten in public on the bus, any little thing, he would just cuff my mother. I think my mother must have had the most black eyes already. My mother always has a black eye, always has a black eye.
Imagine that he has relatives. Aren't they intervening?
Oh, his family doesn't live near my mom. I'm not sure who they are. Like I said, I'm not even sure who they are. I only saw one of his sons only once. I don't know the man's family. I never made it my business to inquire about his family either.
What do you want to say to this individual right now, just in case he's watching the broadcast?
Oh, the heartless man who did inflict all the wounds on my mother. One thing I'm going to say, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I want to say to him, it's true that the police is not looking for him, they have not made an arrest, but he can run and he'll not hide. He can only run, but he cannot hide. And I will try my utmost with the power of God. I'm armed by the power of God. I will do my utmost to ensure that justice is being served. I'm telling you, Tim, I'll try my utmost. He has no right to do what he did there. He has done it for too many years. Right now, it has to come to an end. My mother needs to get her breakthrough.
You've heard the stories of other women. You've heard of other incidents where they have turned to the media and they have vowed that justice will be served. Mm-hmm. But in reality, that's not taking place. What gives you the impression that this time around, that he will be made to pay?
Because God is with me, and I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try my utmost. I won't give up. I have to succeed. What we have been trying to do so many years now, we're going to get it. I claim that in 2015 that will stop. It will stop, Tim. I believe in God, and it will stop.
What has happened so far as the intervention of the police?
Well, as recent as today, I was getting my mom's medication when I got to her home. I was informed that the police came by. I was a bit disappointed because I'm saying, like I told them, my mother needs a little counseling before she makes up her, and I didn't get a chance to speak to them. I wanted them to speak to my mom's next of kin, which is myself and my siblings, or my aunt, but we were not present, and they did not even leave a number for us to contact them.
And you're hoping going forward, what's the next move? As far as you're aware, what is the next move?
That he's charged. He has to be arrested and charged.
But it will require your mom's cooperation so that she could provide evidence, and that basis he will be convicted. I'll allow you to respond to this in a moment, but we have a report from Sherry-Ann Gillard-Williams where defense attorney Mr. Marcus Foster is saying that without the cooperation of the victim, that is Mariah Joseph, her attacker will not be prosecuted.
Mr. Marcus Peter Foster notes that as much as the injuries may seem serious and extensive, the fate of the woman's boyfriend can only be decided if she comes forward to provide evidence. Foster says charges can be brought against him only if Joseph enters a recognizance which states her intent to prosecute. Otherwise, the attorney adds, Joseph cannot be forced to press charges.
At the end of the day, the virtual complainant is absolutely vital. If the virtual complainant is not interested, somebody can't do it on their behalf unless the person has been as a tutor to take care of the affairs of the person on the basis that the person is not of sound mind or physically fit, either physically or mentally fit. But in the absence of that, if the person is of sound mind, whether she has a history of drinking or not, it is perfectly within her powers to say, no, I'm not pursuing.
The veteran criminal attorney says, however, there is an exception.
On the other hand, when he did so, it was public. Then you go into a different realm completely in terms of offenses against public order. That people saw this thing. There are offenses that he can be charged under without her input. If it was public, if, for instance, it was done in full view of the public, that is something else.
Wounding carries a penalty of 2 to 10 years imprisonment. For Choice News Now, I'm Sherry-Ann Gillard-Williams.
Thank you very much, Sherry-Ann Gillard-Williams, for this report which was filed this evening during the Choice News Now broadcast. You heard the attorney saying that the virtual complainant must provide evidence that she was attacked. As we speak this evening, is she willing to do so? Because I think you called Newspin earlier on. And we heard from her during Miguel's report, where she's saying that she does not want to prosecute the individual.
Tiba, I've been speaking to my mother. My mother carried me 9 months. I'm my mother's oldest daughter. I think I have a closer tie to my mother, despite my challenges I may have at times when she doesn't listen to me. My mother had just been discharged from the hospital. My mother is still in pain, she's drowsy, she's tired, she's still in a lot of fear. She still feels like it happens like it just happened like 5 seconds ago. My mom wasn't even certain that the cameras were approaching her, okay? Like I said, my mother needs to be counseled, and I'm already doing that.
Why did you take your story to the media?
Why did I take my story to the media? I had to, Tim, because, you know, I'm tired of every time the police makes an effort to assist my mom, that she turns them away. It hurts to see. I would just stand there and watch my mother go, just like that. And then I'll have to live with it for the rest of my life. That's tough. I try to speak to her, to show her the better way, but she just don't see it for her own self-development. So I figure out when the media gets involved and I expose it, because it's like telling, if I were to just come out to the media, he's abusing my mother, it's just saying it, but saying it, it's believing. So I approached the media in good faith, and I did say I'm not going to hide anything. I'm going to expose what he did to my mother. Because even right now, even when she made the statement saying, I don't want to go to court, whatever, because she's in fear and whatever, with all the media coverage on the public expressing the sentiments towards what happened there, my mother is actually saying, this is so wrong, he didn't have to do me that. She's already coming to her senses. Like I said to you, she was just discharged. And I even think the discharge was too early. So I'm telling you, she's still in all her pain, you know. Probably that question wasn't appropriate at the time. But then anyway, nevertheless, she just made an answer. And then she did say that she wants to be out of Ireland. In that case, she's expressing how much she's in fear.
You said earlier on that she was discharged on Tuesday, and the incident occurred on Sunday evening. Were you given a reason as to why she was discharged from hospital so quickly?
Well, I spoke to the doctor. I said that you're discharging my mom. You think my mom is ready to go home after all this pain and all these bruises and injuries inflicted on her body? The doctor said to me, well, your mother will be okay. Your mother will be all right. Even when I went home, I was a little worried. I asked her, Mommy, did you do a self-discharge? I asked her that question. She said to me, she was saying something about beds not enough and something. And then I just didn't want to give her too much pressure because I know she just came. I just cut the talk. But then I didn't remember asking the doctor, but you didn't even recommend a head scan for my mother. And she took a lot of blows in my head. You should have come up there to see all the things that was used in my mother's head. You know, and then he said to me, I did an x-ray for your mom and I didn't realize any loss of consciousness, so I didn't see a need for a head scan. So I said to him, what happens if something were to develop into a head further, or what about a internal bleed and stuff? So I said to him, so can I just go and get a head scan done? It just to help me with my thoughts, thinking of what can be going on, you know. And then he said to me, it's up to me, I can go ahead. So I've spoken to my sisters and I'm saying we need to get a head scan done on our own. And an ultrasound was not done also. Ask me why, Tim, I don't know.
But have you asked questions of the authorities?
On the ultrasound, I did not ask him why he didn't do it. That's the truth. I did not ask him. Because I was more worried about the head injury where internal bleeding is caused. I was really worried about that. I'm still worried about just that.
What has been the reaction of members of the public in terms of how they're responding to this? Are you receiving personal calls? Are people speaking to you about it in your community?
Oh, Tim, my phone, I think I need a special battery that is always fully charged. Honestly speaking, I get us on Facebook, my inbox is filled. My wall page, my mother is getting telephone calls from persons who's not here, that has been her friends from long all overseas. There is just only one person who is all the way in New Jersey. I will not mention her name on air, but she's celebrating that. But to God be with her, to God be the glory.
What are you hoping will come out of this particular issue as far as other people are concerned?
Well, like I said to you, Tim, I don't think I'm just here because of me or because of my mother. I'm here because of us women. I want to make sure that all women get the message clear, that you shall not fear no man but God. And at the end of the day, we have to stand up and say no to domestic violence. We need to come out of that. We cannot let people keep doing this to us. That's not fair. That's not right. You know? We need to understand that life goes on. We're not supposed to believe that we can only make it with one person. We need to know that we can always move on. And if I believe these things, the fear comes because people don't put their full trust in God. Tim, if you believe in God and you have faith in God, you believe in that no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and then you will end up believing that everything is going to be okay. Because when God steps in, miracles happen. People need to get closer to God. They need to build everybody's supposed to have a relationship with God, and that is what I have. I have my relationship with God. Although I'm not perfect, I'm human, I'm not perfect, but I have my relationship with God. I believe in my God. This is why I try to maintain my pride, respect, and dignity. I try to maintain my sanity. I try to protect the image that I have there today. I'm trying to be very careful because I always say, Tim, a minute of anger can cost you your future.
You're watching Hot Button Issue. Once again, my guest this evening is Melissa Joseph, and that's the daughter of Mariah Joseph. When we come back, your calls, so please stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll put a telephone number on screen right now so that you can call to speak with Melissa Joseph. Once again, that's the daughter of Mariah Joseph, who was allegedly beaten, attacked on Sunday evening, and she's now recuperating at home. And she was hospitalized for about 2 days. So you can call me right now, and of course, you'll be able to speak with Melissa Joseph. We have our first caller line. Good evening, this is Hot Button Issue. You on the air?
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Good evening to your host, to your
my guest.
guest.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I was saying that I think the police should definitely get involved Because usually in cases like that where such programs are aired, the public would tend to take the law into their own hands and will definitely find this man. Many persons have mothers, sisters, and would feel very sentimental towards this victim's fate, whether she accepts it or not. I think for the man's own protection, the law should get involved. And I'm very sorry to learn of your situation, and I also hope that things work out for you and your mom. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for calling. Ever tempted to take matters into your own hands, Melissa?
Tim, that's a question, Tim.
You have a call. Good evening, Hot Button Issue, you on the air?
Good night, Tim.
Hi, good evening to you, caller.
This is Senior Constable Zachary Police Press Officer of the Royal Seneca Police Force. Tim, the police is sometimes caught between a rock and a hard place. In one instance, we receive criticism when it is perceived that we have arrested a suspect too quickly. In another instance, we receive criticism when it has been perceived that we have taken too long to make an arrest. Whether a suspect is arrested today, next week, or next month, shouldn't the justification be in the outcome of the court trial and not how quickly someone is arrested? The police also have the option to summon an accused where there is no arrest being made. So a police officer can lodge a complaint in court, Timothy, and you are not physically arrested by any police officer where you'll be summoned to the court. I do sympathize with Melissa and her mom. They are my relatives. But I just want the public to know that the RSLPF is an organization filled with hardworking officers who continue to serve St. Lucia despite scarce resources available. And I am saying tonight, I'm appealing to Miss Maria Joseph. I am asking you tonight to provide the evidence to the police so that the police could do their job and prefer a charge. And if you decide not to, which is still your choice, I want solutions to remember we live in a democratic society where we have choice. It would be best for, hopefully, family members and other persons to stop putting blame on the police for what they are unable to do due to the decision of the complainant. I am happy to hear tonight where Melissa stated that every time the police try to assist her mom, she turns them away. So the police have tried, but we as enforcers of the law, we can only work within the parameters of the law. So I'm saying this one more time, Maria, you're hearing my voice, I'm hoping. Have confidence in your police, have confidence in the justice system. The same police who Melissa claimed has tried over and over to assist. Give us the power that we need so that we can do what we're supposed to do and prefer a charge against this gentleman, because we as an organization, we do not condone violence against women.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling.
Can I say
What's
something?
you? Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm going to respond to that. Where I'm saying we need to know that an arrest is being made, it helps when my mother is in fear of her life. She knows that the police has him, so she can sleep a little bit more peaceful, not each time probably feeling jumpy or having all kind of nightmares. Because like I said, my mother saw her death like she told us, right? And the other thing, it's important for the family to know whether he's been arrested or not. All this wound being inflicted on my mom, it's not nice. That is raising a lot of anger in anybody who sees it. So I'm saying you're not going to tell me that you're not going to say when the person has been arrested. You need to tell us. Let us know that you are taking care of matters. And the other thing is that providing with the evidence, The police never came to look into the house. They never came to the house. So what is he talking about? You know? And the other thing is that about me calling them and I'm saying they always come in, but my mother is not cooperating with them. Fair enough on that part. But on that time in particular where you've seen so much, you've never seen bloodshed like that, you're not going to make an act of arrest? Tim, they need to arrest him.
We have a call. Good evening. Hot button issue, you're on the air?
Good evening, Timothy.
Hi. Good evening to you.
I am so sorry to hear what your mom and yourself is going through. I always believe that when one woman is abused, it's not just the one woman who's being abused. The entire family is being abused, and all of women is being abused when these things happen. And it's unfortunate that the laws that we have does not allow for a relative, a sibling, or next of kin to make a report on behalf of the victim, as long as the victim has not died. The law cannot, the law is really restricted with regard to what they can do. The victim has to lay charges or make a report for the police to act. However, there are other recourses for the victim and for the family. I agree with you 100%, Melissa, when you say that your mother needs counseling. And I listened to the news articles from yesterday, and I've been watching and reading your mother's body language, and she is frightened, even if she wouldn't say that she's not afraid or whatever. But just a mere fact that when the question is posed to her, are you afraid for your life? And she says, well, we all have to die. It says to me that she believes that there will be another attack. And when that other attack comes, as it inevitably will, if something is not done, if there's not any interference, she will die. She fully believes that this man is going to kill her, which is why she's already given up and she's not fighting anymore. She prefers to run away, and she prefers to just not press charges because maybe she fears recriminations from the man and perhaps his family or whatever, because she did mention about the police. But I just want to say that there are recourse. We have the Women's Support Shelter, which should be open. I understand that it was closed for renovations about 2 years ago, but they should be opened already. So somebody, perhaps from Human Services or the relevant bodies, can perhaps call and let us know if the shelter is open. And they have been known to shelter and harbor women of violence, of domestic violence, for over 3 months. And that gives the victim a chance to take a deep breath and exhale and to really think about what has happened to them. Your mom hasn't had that chance. And I can just imagine when she's alone how she could just be frightened of her own shadow. So we need to be able to find a place for your mom where she's not afraid that this man has easy access to her. Also, the Crisis Center. The Crisis Center is the only women's organization in St. Lucia which gets a subvention from government to operate. So they too should be intervening and giving her the necessary guidance and counseling that you so rightly have pointed out that your mom needs. These are things that I have found out by just researching and calling up persons. I called CAFRA today to find out what can, if anything, that they can do. And those are the avenues that they have suggested. Unfortunately, CAFRA does not operate in St. Lucia as it used to before. So it's very difficult for them to intervene. But even if they were to intervene, or even if another women's organization were to intervene, they need a safe house to put your mom. Your mom needs a place where she can just have a breather and can take a deep breath and to reflect and to understand what has happened to her without the fear of, okay, how am I going to pay my bills? How is, is he going to get to me? Because he has easy access to her. He knows where she lives. She can't really go by one of her kids because he knows where they live, where they reside. And so she needs a safe house. It is very important for someone from the ministry, somebody responsible, to let us know what has happened to the Women's Support Shelter, which gets a subvention for harboring women of that domestic violence to be able to get a reprieve, to get some respite, to understand, to get the necessary counseling that is required, because she needs that. She does not understand. I don't think your mom really understands the full ramification of what has happened to her. And all the people who are calling, who called all throughout the day and said, and especially Martinez Francois, I am very disappointed to say that, you know, women are looking for it. You could be walking butt naked in the streets of Castries, mutilating yourself. That does not mean, it does not give the right to anybody to brutalize you as if you were a punching bag or an animal or just, you know.
But we have to, in fairness to Martinez, we have to put the whole thing into context there. He was not talking about domestic violence. He was talking about the sexual abuse of
and
women,
you know what?
the
you
rape
know
and so on.
Timothy?
Hold on, caller, hold on, please. And he was saying that, for example, women have to be careful when they go out. Certainly, do not walk into certain alleys and so on. Walk in groups and things of that nature, because to do otherwise, to paraphrase, he said that you were basically asking.
Timothy, I listened.
I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying that those were he was articulate on that particular issue. Unwise words,
Timothy, I won't buy
unnecessary,
that
and
because
so on.
I listened to the report time and time again. When that young lady called, you played it again, and you yourself admitted that he was out of place. Okay, and I'm just saying that whether it is domestic abuse, whether it is a woman has been raped, the fact of the matter is it's a violation against a woman's rights. Okay, and there are recourses that are provided for us by law in our country, and it's high time women stand up for that. And I'm so proud of you, Melissa, for taking on your mom's cause, because I do not believe that she really fully understands the ramifications of what has happened to her and the message that she is sending out to younger women who are in the precise position as her. I am proud of you. Keep on doing what you're doing. There are women out there who support you, who are looking into this thing, and who will be offering you support in the days to come. But I think it is high time that the persons responsible for the women's support shelter to come out and say what is the status of that shelter, because that is a recourse that is open to you, so that you can have your mom there, because you have to work, you have to go about your daily life, and there is not always going to be somebody who's going to be watching over her 24 hours a day in terms of family members. But at the shelter there is security there, and you know that she will be safe. She will get the counseling that she needs. The crisis center, the women's crisis center, also needs to come out and to give her the support that she requires, because that is what they are getting government, or rather taxpayers' monies to do. It is quite unfortunate.
We'll have to end it there. Thank you so much for your contribution. We'll take another call. Hot button issue, you're on the end. Hello, good evening. Hi, good evening to you, caller.
Okay, and good night to Melissa. Good night, Miss.
Good night,
Just want to say to you that I am proud of you. You know, I'm your friend, and I've known you for a while, and you know, I really happy to see that you could stand up, you know, for your mom who gave birth, you know, to you, you know. And if you see an act of injustice, because I saw that on TV, and I couldn't understand how your mother is alive today. And irrespective of what she say, the police have a duty, is duty bound, not to serve a summons. Summons is for something like resisting arrest or obscene language. But that is attempted murder.
That's right.
When somebody could do somebody that, the only motive or the only intention that that person had is to kill.
That's right.
And it's God that was watching over your mother. That's why she's alive today. So that man, in my opinion, has to be arrested and remand. You have to remand the law. The law has to remand that man in order for your mother to have a good night rest. Because the idea of sermon, that is, in my opinion, that is hogwash. You can't issue a man a sermon for that kind of charge. I was an officer and I know what I'm talking about. So the sermon thing is just trying to sugarcoat the whole incident. So I want to wish you all the best and put God first. And the policemen, they have to do their job. And their job is to arrest a man and to remand him in custody. And we must only hit the streets. That is a good case to hit the streets. That is a case for people to come out. It's these things we need to come out in solidarity put on political colors and demonstrate, and I will support you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for calling. Want to say something more?
Well, I will try my utmost. Like I said to him, I will not give up on my mother. My mother gave birth to me, and I'm going to make sure. I told her, I look at her and tell her, Mommy, I'm going to stand next to you, not in this thing alone. I'm going to make sure I stand by my mom's side. I will.
Good evening. This is Hot Button Issue. You on the air?
Hello.
Hi. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes.
Okay. There's a feedback.
You know,
Can you?
I was thinking.
Hello, ma'am. There's a feedback. You have to attend to it for me, please.
Sorry, lowered it.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
If the lady and the man concerned were fighting by the market, would the police have arrested anybody? That's one. Wouldn't be fighting in public? Is it because the man is beating her in the house? I really cannot understand the law that you have to complain. Because if somebody is beating up on somebody with all the weapons or whatever he had by the market and the public and everybody around, they would call the police. They would bring them down.
But that is exactly, ma'am, that is exactly what Mr. Marcus Foster was saying earlier on. That if it happens in a public setting, then members of the public would have been privy to this. They would be able to provide the police officers with the evidence. Also, the police officers would on duty would have witnessed this firsthand. Then they can effect an arrest.
Okay.
Now, an event is happening behind closed doors. No, it's happening behind closed doors. The police cannot just assume that this occurred at the hands of her boyfriend. Could have been self-inflicted. You never know. So I think we have to, pause a little and understand exactly what is happening as far as the law is concerned.
They can do investigation. They can investigate. I don't know. We watch things happening on television all the time. That we see people, something happens, so they investigate and find out. Okay? And suppose the lady has a little mental problem. I mean, they would just allow the lady to just be beaten and to her death. She is not accepting or not. It's not just fair. I don't think the lady is altogether mentally stable. You have to have a psychological problem for you to be getting that problem. So the lady needs a lot of help, and it's not just police.
I want to say something.
I don't know. I don't understand all the support group and the support thing, and hiding her in a place for a women's shelter and all that. That is not proactive in my mind. The lady probably has something wrong with her mentally, and she should have some evaluation. That should not have been let out of hospital, and it's happening all the time. Ladies going into the hospital being beaten regularly. That is not a dog or a pig. I do not understand that. I just cannot. I cannot justify it. I don't understand the way of the land. If the laws have to be changed, something is seriously wrong. If people were called and say, there is drugs somewhere, there is something like that. All kinds of arrests in case there is the drug. But what? That's a human being. What is it? What is it?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. What's you?
Okay, thanks for your support. I share the same sentiment with you, but I want to let the public know that I've spoken to Miss Elizabeth Lewis, and they were going to help my mother.
In terms of providing her with counseling and so on.
Everything of that sort. I have already spoken to my mother, who has agreed to go ahead also.
Good evening. You're watching Hot Button Issue on Choice Television. Hello.
Good evening, Timothy.
Hi. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening, Melissa.
Good evening.
I am very in support of you coming on national television to talk about your plight. I sympathize with you very much. But I have a problem with the police, with the statement that we made. The thing is that police, when they want to pursue evidence and information, to condemn people, charge people, they they arrest the person and they dig in to get information. That lady is in tremendous fear of her life. That is the reason why she's not pressing charges. Had the police just arrested this gentleman and hold him there they usually hold him for 72 hours, 24 hours, whatever it is. At least that would have given the lady a reprieve, and they would have at least encouraged the lady to try and press charges against the man. The police is there to protect and serve, and they have to do everything in their power to try and help people, not just condemn people. Just because the lady says she don't want to press charges, just leave it at that. They're not doing, in my opinion, they did not do enough, and they're not doing enough. Good night.
Thank you so much for sharing your point of view with us. Good evening. This is Hot Button Issue right here on Choice Television. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening to you, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, Melissa.
Good evening, caller.
I was so shocked to see you on television today. I don't normally call talk shows, but I had to call because I went to school with you. I knew you, and I consider you someone as who's good for herself. And to even know that you have been going through such an experience, possibly not even during when we were going to school together, I mean, my heart goes out to you.
Yes.
And what I wanted to ask, however, is I know you said that you're getting assistance from gender relations right now, but did it ever occur to you to seek professional advice even before it had reached to that stage? I know you tried how you knew how, but at least getting intervention, because probably you realized that you're not reaching to your mom. And I want to appeal to women as well out there that if you realize that you're trying to help a friend, a family member, and they're not listening, to get professional intervention. Before, I have a second question, but I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Yes, go ahead. She wanted to find out whether you sought professional intervention on behalf of your mom.
Even before it reached to that stage. Yeah. I know you tried how you knew how, but when you realized and your sisters realized you were not getting to your mom, seeking that advice to see how you could have helped her.
Well, so far, at the stage it is at, I have spoken to the Department of Human Services.
No, but she's saying even prior to the latest incident.
Like before?
Did you seek the intervention of Human Services and other departments?
Even before?
Other agencies, yes. Before
No, I did not.
Yeah.
No, I did not. Like I said, I was trying to get through with the family court with my sister, but that she was ready to battle with us, and she said to us, so my sister, if you all go there, I'm going to put you out. And we know she was going to do it because she did that to my other sister who's not here anymore, who's residing in the US. She did that to my sister. She gave my sister a letter from the court to leave her home, and at that time my sister was living with me. So when we tried to make that attempt to the family court, we had to stop it because I know what was coming.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, I think I'll leave this. But Melissa, again, my heart goes out to you, and I meet you every now and again, so hopefully we'll talk. And my prayers are with you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for calling. Hot Button Issue. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, team, and good evening, my dear.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
I just really want to say that this just reminds me of Mary Ratcliffe and also Miss Marietta Benjamin. You know, sometimes fear, lack of trust, and all of that of the system sometimes really keep people away from doing the things that they had to do. Sometimes they are traumatized. Sometimes they are very much afraid. And because the system had failed so many people so many times, and that people are really afraid of taking chances, and next thing they lose their life. So I do understand the lady pain, and I do understand the situation. But I don't know if that 72-hour situation is something that probably they could use and probably hold the guy until when the lady decides to. Or I think she must be convinced somehow to go ahead and do, because I remember Miss Marietta was saying the same thing on air. And until when we talk to her and tell her, look, you cannot take this matter just lightly like this, and try to convince her to go to the police to press charges, and I think that's the way to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening to you.
I would like to commend Melissa on being brave to come forward. This is a touchy issue, and especially it's family, and I know it hurts. However, I would like to ask, is there any substance problem that's going on there too? Substance abuse.
You mean where alcohol?
On his behalf or on your mom's behalf? Because
the heartless man consumes alcohol like it's a water for him every day.
Water, okay.
My mom do consume it sometimes, and I can tell you that's the truth.
Yeah, I figured that because you said there were times when they would be fighting in the streets.
Yeah, they do.
Yes. Okay. Another thing I wanted to ask is just so that I can have a good grip on what's going on. You also said that she says that she's staying because he pays the bills. He helps her to pay the bills. Am I right in hearing that?
That's what she's saying. But I can tell you, every other weekend they fight. When the man gets paid, my mother don't see him. And my families right now, they're listening and they know I'm saying the truth. You know, my sister who lives with my mom always has to pay some bills. So my mother, so I don't know why she's going out saying about paying the bills. She's only talking about one particular bill that comes up directly off his salary, but I cannot give all that information when I'm at there. But where the bills is concerned, my sister pays the bill, so my sister assists my mother whenever she can, because my mother would tell me my sister paid whatever bill for her.
So it does not really give her financial security there at all.
You know what? I tell you, the only financial security is only one amount that comes up automatically from his salary for something that they did together. But at the end of the day, when it comes to, I don't know if you ever experienced that, a man giving you money and he takes it back from you.
Yes.
And he even beats you for it. That's what my mother goes through.
Yes. Well, she needs a lot of counseling.
I know she doesn't like, I know she's listening to me and she's like, she must be saying like, why did I have to say it? But that's the truth. Like I told her, I'm trying my utmost to help her, and I'm not afraid of this battle. I'm not afraid. I only fear God. That's it. I'm not afraid of anything. I heard the last caller saying about afraid of, why should people be afraid? If you believe in God, you're supposed to be afraid of just God. So then if you're afraid of God, you will not do what that doesn't please him.
Well, I'm telling you, by you coming out this evening, a lot of other persons will realize that one day this can happen to them too. And I am happy that you've come out so that others may be able to speak out also. Good evening, Melissa.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you.
Thank you so much for calling. I found caller 9. Good evening.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good evening to you, ma'am.
I do not know Melissa, but I just want to tell her I'm proud of her. Thank you very much. Keep it up.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling. Final comments from you?
Well, on behalf of my family from Malgrade Moshi, especially my auntie, Lydia, Alcy Daniel from Riviera, my siblings, Gillen Joseph and Jasmine Joseph, my sister also, my other sibling, which is my sister who lives in the States, Keisha. I want to thank the public for their support. I really want to thank the public for their support. I want to thank you, Timothy Poleon, for inviting me here on this show. I want to thank the Almighty God for his presence at the time my mother had to get out under that knife. I want to thank him for my mother is still alive today. And I just pray that, like I told my mother, Mommy, there's a lot for you to learn out of that. This is a wake-up call, Mommy. I've been speaking to her. I'm not going to put too much pressure on my mother. You know, I'm slipping in little things on her. I'm helping her out. I really want to thank the public, and I want to thank the police for showing up this morning at my mother's home, but we were not there. And I'm going to contact them because I really, 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 really got to share out the evidence that I have. I'm already speaking to my mother. I need the public to know that. Like I said, she just came from the hospital and she was a little disoriented. And it's already unfolded. My mother has already accepted that the man did her wrong. I don't want to say too much, but I know, like I said, my mother carried me 9 months. I'm supposed to know my way around to get to my mother. And I'm getting that done. And I want to also say to the women out there, me coming out there today, I didn't just come out because it's my mother. I came out to represent us women. We need to say no. We need to come out and stop having that fear, spirit of fear, rebuke that in our system. We're not supposed to be afraid of anyone. If God helped you, like I told my mother, if God helped you out under that knife, he will continue to protect you. You just need to trust in God. And that's what I keep telling my mother. I tell her she needs to get a little closer to God, build her relationship. She's not perfect. She's probably lacking in that area. I have pointed it out, and I'll try my utmost to help my mother. I just pray to God that the relationship that I lost with my mom because of this heartless man, I wish and I pray, I'm going to declare. I believe in my God it's going to happen. My mom is going to get back to the mother that I knew her to be, and we're going to be just fine.
Quite inspiring stuff. Melissa Joseph, thank you so much for being my guest on this evening's Hot Button Issue. Thank you as always for watching the broadcast and contributing via your calls. If it's Wednesday, we discuss a hot button issue right here on Choice Television. Time now for the clip at Pete.
The union is already destroyed.
We understand there was some other correspondent.
The union is already destroyed. What do you mean it's destroyed, Mr.
At whose hands? At whose hands, Mr. Demark? At whose hands do you believe?
You are looking for Roro for me.
No,
I'm
but
not
sir,
saying anything against the president. You have some concern the union is destroyed. That's a strong statement. Hello. Hello. Open. That's why I don't like speaking to you all.
Once again, that's the broadcast. My name is Timothy Poleon. Good night.